Ladies, gentlemen, Speakerhead Squad, what is going on? It is your boy Speakerhead, and welcome back to another video. When it comes to the original Transformers series, there were multiple times where the leader of either faction was unable to lead for one reason or another. Because of this, another Transformer would have to step up and lead their faction either short-term or permanently. When it came to all the Transformers that stepped up in the absence of their leader, I personally really love Cyclonus. I personally think he was an excellent leader in Galvatron's absence, and I think he would honestly make an excellent leader if he ever decided to disappear. But as usual, when I saw that Newage was releasing this guy, I had to go pick him up. But before we get into this review, I want to let you guys know if you guys enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Also, if you guys enjoy any of the music in this video, it's all part of my royalty-free music label, Speakerhead Studios. All the music in this label is completely royalty-free, so go ahead and use it for any of your content creating needs. Also, if you ever want to catch me live, I do stream over at Speakerhead Live on YouTube. But with all that out of the way, let's get into the discussion. To start off, let's talk about accessories. So this figure is going to come with two sets of hands. One's going to be a more open spread hand, and one's going to be your standard hand to hold the blaster. Then he also comes with two different blasters. One that looks like his Toon Blaster and one that looks like his Toy Blaster. The Cartoon Blaster has a nice silver paint job, while the Toy Blaster is just plain plastic. So now let's move on to the figure. Talking about the figure now, I have to talk about the paint job right away. Considering this is just the standard figure, it has an absolutely stunning pearlescent paint job on it. All the colors on it are extremely bright with a bunch of beautiful blues and purples mixed in. As you can tell by this 360 view, this guy looks absolutely fantastic with this paint job. I also like the translucent yellows they use for the cockpit and his chest. I really think it adds to the character and makes him stand out a bit, more than he already is with that beautiful paint job. I'd have to say when it comes to the paint job, this is absolutely one of the best painted legend scale figures I have ever seen. And once again, considering this is just a standard release, this guy, I'm so happy that I was able to get him. I thought it was a really smart move to use that pearlescent paint because it really just makes him stand out compared to all the other figures. But talking about the sculpt of this guy, it is absolutely fantastic. I think they nailed everything from his face with those bright red eyes, all the way down to his legs with his beautiful purple knee pads. Then he has those purple details all over his body, and it really just makes him pop. It's very subtle, but it really does look good. Just doing one more 360 view, you guys can tell that they just cleaned this guy up all the way from the front to the back, so no matter how he's posed, he absolutely looks stunning. So now let's start talking about the posability of this guy. Overall, the articulation is amazing, but he does have a couple trouble spots. Starting with the head, it's on a ball joint, so you get plenty of articulation in all directions. Moving on to the arms, they did an amazing job with the articulation on these. This figure actually has two different ways to pivot the arms outwards. First, the shoulders can go up 90 degrees, and that's more than you'd ever need. But then because of the transformation, you're actually able to move the entire lower arms separate of the shoulder if you don't want to break apart the body. Then talking about the elbows, they are double jointed with plenty of articulation, but if you're having the blaster in his hand, it will get in the way somewhat. I also did want to mention that be careful putting the blasters in the hand because I noticed on mine they were extremely tight to put in, so just be careful about that. Then moving on to the chest, it has an insane ab crunch which can obviously break the look of the figure, but it's very nice to have that available. And then of course it does have a waist swivel. Moving down to the legs, they are on ball joints, so you can get plenty of articulation just by moving the crotch plates out of the way. You can go all the way to the side, all the way forward, and all the way back, no issue. Now moving on to the knees, this is where most of my problems come with the articulation. The knee is only on a single hinge that can get you about 90 degrees, and that's totally fine with most figures. But because the lower legs are so much longer than the upper legs, there's no possible way to get this guy into any sort of kneeling pose. And it's quite unfortunate because I feel like with all the articulation this guy has, this is the one spot that it fails. It's not terrible or anything, don't get me wrong, it's just that you can't get any of those kneeling poses that you might like to get. And I personally really like to get those because I think those are very interesting, especially when it has this amazing ab crunch available. Then moving down to the feet, it does have an ankle rocker and a toe tilt down but no toe tilt up. Overall, the posability on this guy is top notch, but once again, just because of the unproportioned legs, and honestly it's more of just a character problem, it takes away from the posability a little bit, but overall it's still fantastic. One thing I did want to mention is I don't really know how I feel about the size of this figure. When it comes to Newage, they're pretty good at the scaling of both their Autobots and their Decepticons. But I personally think this Cyclonus is a bit out of scale. Here's a picture of how tall he is compared to some of the other Decepticons that show you how tall he is. And as you can see, he even stands taller than Megatron, which is kind of weird because I wouldn't expect him to be much taller than Megatron. Maybe about the same height max, but not taller. Now this doesn't take anything away from the figure at all, but I just wanted to mention it because it did throw me off at first. So if you're someone that cares a lot about scale, this may throw you off. I don't think it was super important, but I did want to mention it. Now let's move on to the transformation. When it comes to this guy's transformation, I absolutely love transforming this guy. It's such an easy but unique transformation that I absolutely love doing it over and over again. Everything in the transformation is smooth and nothing really gets in the way. And just like many other New Age figures, the transformation is clever but not complicated. So you won't get frustrated doing the transformation trying to figure out what goes where. But like I said, I really enjoyed the transformation of this guy, and it's one of my favorite transformations so far for New Age. And then the end product just looks absolutely stunning with that paint job. Now talking about the vehicle mode, it looks like you pulled this thing straight out of the cartoon. Like I was saying before, the paint job on this guy is absolutely beautiful, and in this alt mode, it just shows it off that much more. Especially on the wings with that purple, it just looks absolutely beautiful. Then also talking about the windows for the alt mode, I really love that yellow they used. It just really pops out from the rest of the blue and purple. But overall, I think it's a fantastic looking vehicle mode, and I'm super happy to finally have it in my collection. Then here's a couple of comparison shots with Jetfire and Skywarp, both made by New Age. Right now I'm going to throw a few different pictures of this guy on the screen so you can see all the different poses you can get him in. Now moving on to my final thoughts, I think New Age once again did an excellent job on this figure. They absolutely nailed the sculpt. The paint job on this guy is beautiful. It has plenty of articulation. They did an excellent job on this. Besides those knees that only get you 90 degrees, this guy has more articulation points than you would ever need. The arms have a fantastic range of motion. It has an amazing ab crunch, and it has some amazing ankle rockers that can really go far. But overall, this guy just looks absolutely stunning, and he really does stand out from the rest of my collection. But guys, that's all I gotta say. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Tell me whether you're gonna get them or not. If you already have them, let me know what you think. But once again, if you guys enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help me out. And once again, if you enjoyed any of the music in this video, it's all part of my royalty-free music label, Speakerhead Studios. Link in the description. But that's gonna be it for me, so I'll catch all y'all in the next one. Peace!